Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you guys are getting through 2020, to be honest, because I don't think it's a case of getting through lockdown. It's a case of getting through the rest of this year with everything that has been going on. So if you haven't already clocked what the video is about in the title, today I'll be filming a video on Warwick accommodation as a whole. Obviously, I only have my own experiences living in the accommodation that I was living in last year, or not last year, this year, but I guess I'm kind of finished with first year, so last academic year some time ago. But just want to share that with you guys and also share some other experiences I know from just being around other people's accommodation. But guys, before we start the video, if you're new, hit that subscribe button because it always makes me happy when you guys do that, and follow the Insta at io.vlogs. I think I'll leave it here if I haven't already put it up, but yeah, follow my Instagram at io.vlogs. A lot of extra content will be on my Instagram and I'll be using it a lot more, especially during this lockdown period, so definitely go follow that up, and definitely hit the subscribe button if you haven't hit it. Down there somewhere, hit the subscribe button. Right guys, now that the important stuff is out of the way, let's jump into the video and get started with me spilling tea on basically work accommodation.
Just a quick disclaimer guys, obviously this is only my own personal experience. I'm not saying that this is definitive of work accommodation as a whole, neither am I saying that it's an official guide. Also, to add on to that idea, I'm not an official regulator or anything of an official standard, so this isn't in correspondence with work or like official, so this is just again me just saying how it is, how I felt it was. Obviously I have been living there for some time, so I do feel like it's quite well rounded, and I know a lot of my friends who live in different accommodations. It's just very much my own subjective opinion, which I thought you guys would benefit from.
Right guys, I'm just going to jump into going through these accommodations. I was in an accommodation called Jack Martin, which is the best accommodation. On a real guys, Jack Martin is probably the accommodation which I think was the best, maybe partly just due to the fact that I did live there for the entirety of my first year in university. So some pros about why Jack Martin is the best accommodation. It has en-suites, lovely renovated kitchens. I think the hobs are like gas. So not all of the hobs in all the accommodations are gas, but Jack Martin's were gas, and that would be quite nice. I really enjoyed the fact that I could cook my food properly. It has relatively sociable people. I don't know why I said relatively, that sounded like shade. It has sociable people, and then also it has a really nice view outside as well. Like there has like a courtyard view if like you're in the right block. And Jack Martin's central campus just means that you can get to lectures easily. Roots grocery stores on like the central part of the campus. I had a lot of friends that were in another accommodation called Roots, and Roots was kind of, actually I'll talk to you about Roots a bit later. It's an accommodation which is really close to Jack Martin, and the fact that I could easily go to Roots to just, you know, meet up with my friends, do stuff, I thought that was really useful for me personally. So whilst there's almost an endless amount of pros as to why Jack Martin is the best accommodation guys, there may be some things which you may not like as well, so I guess I have to, just to be fair, throw in a few cons just to even up the playing fields in terms of, you know, which is the best accommodation out of them all. So some cons guys, you are sharing with quite a large amount of people in the kitchen. So I think I had up to like 13 people in the kitchen, and for me personally it was good from a social perspective because I think naturally I like to meet new people, but having 13 people in a kitchen guys, that's a lot of people. We'd also have such a stuffed fridge that we'd have to put our milk, like what is it, like imagine this is our milk, we'd have to put our milk sideways because our fridges would be so packed. Can you see that? It just dripped. My bottle just dripped. If you turn your milk like that, then it's obviously going to like drip. First meals at the bottom of the fridge will just always have like milk on their food, and again, that doesn't sound the most appetizing thing. So yeah, having 13 people in a thingy-majig is a lot. And guys, whilst Jack Martin is a sociable accommodation, it's not the most sociable accommodation. And yes, I did concede by saying that because the rooms are en-suite, it also means that sometimes the rooms can be a bit smaller than other rooms in other accommodations, but I really didn't feel it was a big difference. Like my room was still quite spacious. The dreaded green walls of Jack Martin. He got green walls, the green Because I was in one of the more modern blocks of Jack Martin, I did not have to put up with the horrible green walls which are in some blocks in Jack Martin. And to be honest, I think it would have done bits for my YouTube career because I could have used it as like a green screen or something. But yeah, all in all, Jack Martin's a great accommodation, guys, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone if you are coming into Warwick this year. So guys, the other accommodation which I was in, probably more than Jack Martin at times, was an accommodation called Roots. Now, if you've heard of Warwick, you've probably heard of Roots. Roots is meant to be the kind of accommodation where like everyone rocks up and everyone's like,
they're like, oh, you're in Roots, it must mean like you go out like loads.
There's this really odd conception that just being in a certain accommodation completely defines your personality, which it does, to be fair. And a lot of my mates enjoyed living there last year. This year, I don't know what to say. Is it last year or this year? It's this year, but like, it feels like it's gone. First year. Loads of my mates enjoyed living there during first year. Roots accommodation, I'd say the main pros of it is that it's meant to be the most going out type of accommodation in Warwick. So if that's something that you're looking to do in university, definitely consider Roots. The rooms in Roots are also really like spacious. Prees in Roots, if I must say so myself, tend to bang whenever I went, which was a lot. Shout out K Block Roots, top kitchen. But yeah, like the prees always banged in Roots, and I think I'll have some of my like best memories from university just being like in and around those kitchens, playing all sorts of games and just like chilling out. Yeah, the Roots prees always, yeah, they're the one, as well as Jack Martin prees as well. Like can't discount the home accommodation, like those prees are good as well, but Roots prees are there, something to remember. So yeah, if you know the right people, obviously. And then also the cost of Roots, guys, like it's really quite reasonable compared to other accommodations that you may look at in Warwick. Some things which may be on the downside of Roots. Roots does have shared bathrooms, which a lot of my friends have actually said isn't really a problem. Also, as I said, the Roots prees bang, but everyone knows after a good prees, there's always a big cleanup to be done after all of the kind of messy nights that people have in Roots. There's something about Roots though which is beyond me, and that is the fire alarm. Always a fire alarm, but they happen at like, you can get a fire alarm like 3 times in one night easily. I've once been like in someone's account and there was a fire alarm that just came out of nowhere.
Do you want to stay in the corridor?
Beware of the fire alarms, guys, because some idiot just manages to always turn one on at the most inconvenient time. Also, guys, but this is just a general Warwick problem. I don't know what is like the new part of Roots, but there's always like geese around, just like chasing other geese, like chasing rubbish sometimes, like just doing, like, how can you chase rubbish? Like, I don't know what they're just doing random things. Your morning alarm could easily be the geese. Okay, the geese was not really a big problem. And then the laundry as well for Roots, because Roots has like, I don't know, like 14 or 16 blocks. It's probably like the biggest accommodation type in Warwick, which means that the laundry place can get quite busy especially on a Saturday morning, I heard. So just beware that if you're in Roots, you may have to find clever ways to do your laundry at different times because the laundry space can get quite busy. But yeah, so I would say that Roots is a really fun accommodation. If I was not in Jack Martin, I would hand on my heart say I would probably gone to Roots. I mean, I was there so many times that most people actually thought I lived in Roots. So guys, another accommodation type in Warwick is an accommodation called Arthur Vick. I nearly forgot its name. That irrelevant jokes. It's called Arthur Vick, and a few of my mates live there as well. Arthur Vick is almost like the big brother of Jack Martin in a way. It's kind of the more extravagant Jack Martin. I mean, some pros, there are en-suites in Arthur Vick. They also have sofas, guys, which in university, it may not sound like a big thing, but you'll realize in university, like having sofas is a bit of a godsend. It's more of a luxury than anything else. The kitchens are large in Arthur Vick, guys, like they're massive. Yeah, if you want a big kitchen and lots of fridge and freezer space, Arthur Vick's definitely the one. Arthur Vick is also central campus, which personally I feel is better if you want to have a bit more of a social experience. And in Arthur Vick, most of the rooms are refurbished, so like you get this really like nice modern look to the rooms. But as always guys, there's always a few drawbacks. This is not a biased viewpoint, I just think that
It's the truth.
Arthur Vick I don't think is as sociable as Jack Martin. So if you're comparing between two ensuite accommodations and you were more on the side of wanting to meet new people and socialise, Jack Martin I feel definitely has that over Arthur Vick. But yeah, that's just again a personal opinion, but I feel like it's kind of true. And I think for some far places like Milburn House, if you do drama, apparently it's quite far to get to that. So, but other than that guys, Arthur Vick is a really nice accommodation. I'm not salty because I wanted Jack Martin, that was my number one option, but again, it's another accommodation which I probably would consider to be in if I wasn't in Jack Martin. Tocil, it's quite a quiet accommodation on one side if that's what you're looking for, and unlike Arthur Vick, Jack Martin and Root, it's not really open plan, it's more flats, so you actually have to have access to the flat in order to go into the kitchen. And Tocil's actually quite close to Tesco, which you'll realise when you're on Central Campus is a big advantage. Getting food in Warwick is a issue at times, or rather not an issue, just a mission. Pretty sure I've done like a 2 a.m. shop because I was so hungry and had like no food in the fridge. Being close to Tesco definitely helps out, but I would say the cons for Tocil will probably be the fact that it is flats, which means that it's probably harder to socialise if that's something that you're more like, you know, you're someone who's quite extroverted or likes to meet other people. If you like quiet places, and Tocil's probably okay for you, but yeah, it's still an accommodation. So guys, next is Sherbourne, one of the nicest accommodation like decors. Sherbourne had big kitchens which were modern, they're nice rooms, and also in the kitchens as well, they're good space like for your staff. A lot of people who live in the Sherbourne blocks tend to hang out together. So yeah, I'd say Sherbourne is a really nice accommodation. I'd say the biggest con is probably that it's not on Central Campus, and because it's not on Central Campus, it means that you have to basically just chill your kitchen. The other kitchens and corridors require key cards, so it means that it's like harder to just meet up with people and just socialize. You kind of have to wait for someone to let you in. And during freshers as well guys, you'll realize that the easiest way to just meet new people and just make new friends is just by being around your accommodation. So if you can't really do that, then it makes it a lot harder to find people to meet and talk to. Also as well, I heard for Sherbourne it's quite far to sometimes walk to lectures, but you get used to it apparently and it's not that big of a deal. I'd say that it's a really nice accommodation from what I've seen. It's just not on Central Campus, so you may lose a bit out on the social aspect of things because you're not really part of that kind of Central Campus bubble. Next accommodation is Bluebell, and Bluebell for me reminds me like a showroom when I see it. Like there's a lot of fluorescent lighting, and if you ever see it at night you'll see like the lighting's really cool, but it's just so clinical. Really no, it's nice, but I'll just stop talking to be honest. I think Bluebell tends to have a bigger international cohort than other accommodations. If you're a home student and you want to meet more internationals, then maybe that's something that you want to look into, or maybe if you're an international, you want to be with internationals, then Bluebell's a nice accommodation for that. But here are some of the pros for Bluebell. So you get double beds. For me, it doesn't really make much of a difference, but if you're someone who really wants a double bed, then I guess Bluebell's the accommodation for you, because most of the other accommodations don't have double beds.
Hello MTV, welcome to the Bluebell crib. Wow.
It's ensuite, so if you're looking at an accommodation which is ensuite, Bluebell has that as well.
Wow. Wow.
There's a lot of space in the rooms because it's just a big accommodation and it's on Central Campus. And also, I think there's lifts there. So Jack Martin, the block I was in, had lifts, and I think some other blocks have lifts as well. So that can be quite useful if perhaps you have a disability or you need some sort of care which you need quick access to the floors. So for some cons for Bluebell, it's a nice accommodation, but it's not always the most sociable. I think the automatic lights are a bit weird in the accommodation, so it just feels a bit hotel-y, clinical, doesn't feel much of a home in a way. From when I went there once, it wasn't the most sociable accommodation. So Claycroft's biggest advantage, I don't even need to think about this, is probably the fact that it's close to Tesco's. Anyone who lived in Claycroft, you probably had Tesco stuff bought every day because it's just so easy to get to. So close to Tesco's, and yeah, It is shared bathroom, but I heard that it's not that bad because you only share with like one other person. It's close to the maths department if that's something which you would be studying in Warwick. Another pro for Claycroft is that it's quite sociable. So yeah, it's a nice accommodation from that perspective. I would say the only cons I really know is just probably the fact that it's not on central campus, and it can be, because it's not on central campus, it can be a bit far to get to the sports centre and other facilities which are a bit further away. The kitchens are quite small. I don't know, it just depends what you want. So Cryfield Standard, I would say the pros for Cryfield Standard, redo that. Cryfield Standard. The pros for Cryfield Standard are its price, but it's probably more reasonable than other accommodations. So if that's something that you're looking at, I would say that the cons for Cryfield Standard, it doesn't have the best facilities. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm not even the tallest person, but the corridors are really like narrow, like from a height perspective and from like a width perspective. You can literally like fit one person down the corridor. So guys, sorry if the angle's different, I had to switch some things up. And then I would say for Cryfield Townhouse, it's a really nice accommodation, but I don't really know too much about it because it was quite new when I came in, so I can't really comment too much on it. It's not on central campus, so I don't think it'll be as sociable, but still a nice accommodation. And then guys, there's a bit of a list which I don't really like to put in, but I feel there's kind of a list of accommodations which are kind of irrelevant, and you don't really want to be in those accommodations because unless you really like quiet living during uni, you don't really want to like go out much, or not saying you won't go out if you're in these accommodations, but like if you don't really care too much about stuff like that, then sorry about the angle shift guys, I had to switch phones. So we have Lakeside, Heronbank and Westwood. I mean with Westwood at least you'll be close to the postal room. That's all I can say. That's literally all I can say about Westwood. I don't really know many people that live there really willingly. They're not the most sociable accommodations, but definitely accommodations which you may want to be in if you have particular needs or if you don't want to be on central campus or something. So guys, if I had to pick 3 options for which accommodation I would like want to be in, I would probably say that Jack Martin would have to be top of the list because, well, it's Jack Martin and obviously greatness comes from such accommodation. My second choice would probably be Roots because as much as I like to study, I also like a good night out. I would say that my third would probably be Sherbourne. I haven't put Arthur Vick on the list because technically I think if you pick Jack Martin you can't pick Arthur Vick, but it probably would also be on the list if I could include it somewhere. But yeah, I'd say Jack Martin, Roots and Sherbourne would be my 3 options if I was in your shoes, but obviously I'm not. It's your decision. And at the end of the day guys, accommodation is important, but it's not the be all or end all of your university experience. Things will progress, you will have friends even if you don't have friends in your accommodation. Life doesn't just end with the accommodation that you're in. If anything, it's just a starting point in order to kind of start your university experience. So guys, thank you for watching. That is the end of the video. If this helped you and you liked what I was saying, please give it a big like, hit the subscribe button, and guys, if you have any other questions about accommodations or any other comments about the type of accommodations which you kind of experienced in your universities, definitely leave a comment down below and ask any questions that you have for me. Obviously I've been there, done it, got the t-shirt. Hopefully I'll be continuing this type of Warwick segment with a few more Warwick videos. Thank you guys for watching the video. See you all next time. Bye.